The shout from the audience felt like a dream when Jamal Roberts stood on the American Idol stage, drenched in golden light, with his hands shaking as the host, Ryan Seacrest, announced his name as the winner. However, for Jamal, a soul musician from Meridian, Mississippi who is 24 years old, that particular moment was much more than a triumph for his own personal life. It was a spiritual release after he had been holding his breath for a number of years. Not only did Jamal Roberts win a championship, a trophy, and a record deal, but he also won a lot more than that. It was something more profound, something that goes beyond what can be seen on television or quantified by CD sales. Verification, identification, and the ability to rewrite the story of his own life and the lives of others were all things that he was able to acquire. And people all across the world are only now starting to comprehend how momentous that is. There is a voice. Meridian, Mississippi, a small community with rich roots in music history, has long echoed with the blues, gospel, and soul that defined Southern musicianship. Born in the South, Meridian has been a center of musical history. It's also a location where dreams are frequently treated as if they were a luxury. Over the course of his childhood, Jamal was raised in a community that was rich in potential but deficient in opportunities. Jamal was brought up by a single mother who worked double shifts at a neighborhood cafe. When Jamal was young, she taught him that there are times when survival is more important than singing. But music was a part of his whole being. When Jamal was 7 years old, his grandfather was a gospel preacher, and his father was a local blues guitarist who had been forgotten about but disappeared. On the porch, Jamal would sing, emulating the voices of Sam Cooke, Al Green, and Donny Hathaway, all while using a speaker that had been passed down to him and a microphone that was scratchy. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Jamal stated, "The porch was my first stage. This, in addition to the kitchen, where my mother would clap along with the music while she cooked grits." Desperation, not ambition, was the driving force behind his decision to try out for American Idol. At the same time that his truck had broken down and his job at the hardware shop had been eliminated, he found himself wondering if his voice was the only ticket out of the situation. The reason Jamal stood out from the crowd from the very beginning of his audition was not because he had the most flashy style or the most polished look. Rather, it was because he sang with something that could not be replaced: truth. Upon seeing him play "A Change Is Gonna Come," the judges were left in a state of stunned silence. Carrie Underwood felt tears well up in her eyes as she returned to the show as a guest judge during that season. She spoke forward and remarked, "You don't sing a song. You are a witness." In his words, Luke Bryan referred to him as a soul preacher with velvet fire. The only thing that Lionel Richie said was, "You are the reason that this show was created." But the judges were not the only ones who experienced it. In addition, the United States did. Jamal was able to bring songs to life again and over again in a manner that was reminiscent of a revival. He wasn't trying to wow anyone. Rather, he was seeking to connect with them. He selected songs that had significance, such as "What's Going On" by Marvin Gaye, "Fast Car" by Tracy Chapman, and "Bayou Blues," which was his own original composition. Every performance was like some kind of prayer that was enveloped in music. After Jamal was crowned the winner of American Idol, Meridian exploded in jubilation. Worship services were held at churches. His previous high school broadcast his performances on the school's speaker system. On the other hand, despite the fact that the media was buzzing about his victory, Jamal appeared to be more effective than happy. It was during his first interview with the press that he stated, "I didn't just win a singing contest. I was able to retrieve something." It was not fame that Jamal obtained. Rather, it was freedom. Having the liberty to be himself without any inhibitions. The liberty to give respect to his origins while simultaneously pursuing dreams that go beyond his ZIP code. In order to achieve victory, it was not enough to just enter the limelight. It has to do with overcoming the fear that it had caused. And probably most significantly, Jamal was able to gain influence, not the type that is obtained through social media, but the kind that is used to elevate communities. In less than a month after his victory, he went back to Meridian and made the announcement of the Portlight Project, which is a grassroots mentorship and music program that aims to provide local children with access to instruments, studio time, and artist development opportunities. It was during the launch that he made the statement, "I'm not the first talented kid from Meridian. I am the only one who was able to acquire a microphone that was loud enough to be heard. It is now my turn to pass the microphone forward." Making a new definition of what it means to make it. Package musicians, give them a polish, and sell them to death are all things that the music industry enjoys doing. In spite of this, Jamal did not conform. Delta Soul is his debut album, and it is an unashamed blend of soul, gospel, blues, and modern R&B. It is a musical tribute to the musical tradition of Mississippi. In a church in Meridian, he recorded portions of it, making use of real choirs and musicians from the surrounding area. It was not necessary for it to make its debut at #1, but it did not. A masterpiece of authenticity and a love letter to the South, both broken and beautiful, were some of the praises that were spoken about it by critics. He was not interested in becoming a famous pop star. He was constructing something that was more authentic. The last person he wanted to be was someone else. To become the first Jamal Roberts, he'd aspired to perform. Recuperation and completeness. In an environment where celebrity is frequently accompanied by masks and egos, Jamal has been a refreshingly open and honest individual. He has not been shy about discussing his issues with anxiety and his sense of self-worth. Before Idol, I believe that my tenderness was a flaw in my character. During a recent charity event for mental health, he expressed his belief that being emotionally vulnerable might make one more vulnerable. On the other hand, I've realized that there is power in feeling, in not numbing out feeling. Fans from all around the world have expressed their gratitude to him not just for his music, but also for his sincerity. In one of the messages that Jamal shared, a little child from Mississippi wrote, "I didn't think someone like me could win anything until I saw you." Jamal shared this message with the group. That is what Jamal considers to be his true reward. The imprint of a single moment. There is more to Jamal Roberts than just winning American Idol. The opportunity to be heard in its whole and with complete honesty was something that he won. It was not his intention to run away from his origins. Rather, he used that opportunity to go deeper into them, to give back, to pull others up, and to produce work that heals. Some winners take home a trophy, Luke Bryan said during the event's conclusion, which was the finest way to explain it. Others get together to form a movement. It is you, Jamal. Who is the latter? Jamal Roberts is more than just a singer. He has traveled from the red dirt roads of Meridian to the dazzling lights of Los Angeles because of his career. He is a representation of optimism, a link between different generations, and evidence that the most significant victory is not often the one that is captured on camera. Rather, it is the one that silently transforms lives, one song at a time. Jamal Roberts, in the end, was able to acquire a stage that was far more impressive than any other competitor. The entire world which was prepared to listen.